I teach a formula called E plus R equals O, that there are events in your life, you then have a response to that event that produces an outcome. And if you don't like the outcome, what most people do is they blame the event.
Right.
Or they complain about the events that are out there in the world. And so basically you have to realize that the outcomes are the result of how you responded to the food that was put in front of you, the alcohol that was put in front of you, the parenting that you got, the bonus that was given to you. Did you invest it or did you go spend it in Las Vegas on a weekend? At the end of the year, your net worth either went up or it didn't, you know.
Right.
And so I meet people a lot. I mean, you're in the health world, and so you meet a lot of people who are sick. And they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that I'm the one who ate too much sugar, didn't exercise, didn't meditate, didn't get enough sleep, didn't drink enough water, etc. And it's hard to hear. You know, I don't want to ever blame anyone for being sick, but the reality is if you realize that you created it, you can uncreate it and not recreate it in the future. That's where the freedom comes from.
Right.
And so the big three you have to look at are giving up blaming, giving up complaining, and giving up excuse making. And that's difficult for most people. You know, let's look at complaining for a minute, because everyone I know complains about the government, the do-nothing Congress, the Democrats, the Republicans, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, whatever side of the argument you're on, we're blaming and complaining the other side about the other side. But think about this, you rarely ever hear someone complain about gravity.
Right.
You know, you never see some old guy in a walker in a mall or in a hospital, you know, trudging along going, gravity.
Right.
I hate gravity. Gravity sucks. Wasn't for gravity, I wouldn't be all bent over. You never hear people do that. And the reason is there is no option. Gravity is.
Right.
So anything that really is where there's no option, people don't complain about it. But we complain about our spouses because we realize they could change their behavior, or there's some other woman you met, like, you know, I always use an example. My wife used to be, she's not anymore, but she used to be the food Nazi. You know, can't believe you're eating that, sitting there watching TV, drinking a beer, eating Cheetos while they're all healthy on the field playing football, making money, you know, whatever. And now, for me to complain about her, I would have to believe there's some woman somewhere, and I know there is, who comes in and goes, oh, honey, can I get you more nachos? Would you like another beer, right? So in order to complain, I have to have a reference point of something I prefer that I'm not willing to risk creating. So rather than risk creating it by either confronting my wife, going to couples therapy, getting out of a bad relationship, whatever, leaving a bad job, I would rather go to the bar, have a drink, and complain about it. And that is if we do E plus R equals O, complaining is a response that doesn't produce a better outcome.
Right.
So ultimately, if we want better outcomes, we have to change our thinking, our images, and our behavior. And that's where all the work then, the rest of my book talks about what are the thoughts that successful people think, what are the behaviors they do, and how do they hold their imagery. I mean, we know that imaging is a really important thing. Just in health, visualizing yourself healthy, visualizing yourself doing the disciplined things you need to do actually helps you do that. So we can talk more about that. But that's basically the thing.
And I've heard you say too
that
complaining is a reference point for better, and that's always something I use with my team. Hey, if you find yourself complaining, there's a reference point for better, just bring me some options.
Right.
You know, that's okay. It's okay to have a complaint. Just give me 2 solutions and allow me maybe to pick one, and we can improve as a team. And that E plus R equals O is so fantastic. One of the things I've learned as I've gotten older is just put a little space between the E and the R.
Right. There's
a little
a gap
pause
in
in there, right? Just a little reflection between the event and your reaction. As a father of 4, that's been really big there. Just a little pause. Let's think about this for a second. And then I'll choose my reaction instead of just being all emotional. But that equation, I think, is so profound too, that E plus R equals O. You really control the outcome, which ties us back into that 100% rule. And that's the foundation for so many positive changes, positive business ideas, is just understanding, hey, you're still in control. And really choosing a better path, it is just a decision.
Well, I make a distinction between reaction and response. I think reaction's unconscious.
Okay.
You know, you throw me the ball and I just put my hand up. That's a kind of an unconscious response. And most of our reactions are like that. We're not thinking. You know, we see a dog and we got bit by a dog when we were a kid and we freak out, or our wife says something that triggers some memory we have, and then we just react unconsciously. Where, from my point of view, a response is more conscious, where I think, as you said, take a moment to be mindful, notice what's being triggered in me, or notice what fear comes up or what thoughts come up, and then ask myself, what outcome do I really want, and what would be the thought, the behavior, or the image that would create that? Most people don't take that time in between the E and the R, as you said. So I think it's important.
We're 5 minutes in and I could pack my bags.